Welcome in to the Casual Gaming Conversation. I'm Connor. That's Nick. This is your weekly gaming podcast from Co-op 64. We got some good topics for you this week. We're going to be talking about the potential of a Nintendo Direct coming up, what we are looking forward to seeing there, what we even think it's going to be. Could we see a new Switch? Who's to say? I would say no, but
Yeah.
we'll get into that a little bit. Nick's been playing some Granblue Fantasy Relink, so he's going to talk about that a little bit. I started Persona 3, but don't have enough time in it to really discuss it. But so that'll be pushed to next week. We got a draft. We're talking about indie games. We're drafting the best indie games, and we're kicking it off with our hot take. So we are Co-op 64. We post this new podcast every week, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and Spotify. Will hopefully be coming to other podcast services soon as well.
We posted on Mondays.
Ah, shoot.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
so used to
gotcha.
saying Thursday. So we're posting on Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You just said 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. You didn't say Thursday. You just said 9 a.m. Eastern. So I was
gotcha.
just trying to make sure that you got it.
I thought I said Thursday on accident.
No, you're good.
We stream 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 10. Special streams most weekends right now. We got all 96 Mario Kart courses next weekend.
So every single Saturday for the next 2 weeks, we have one. And then it's all leading into the big one, us doing a subathon for Final Fantasy VII Remake right before Rebirth.
Inside in between that, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm not a part of that. Oh my goodness.
I'm here that weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to be here and probably hang with Brady, but
So that'll be fun.
That's a Brady stream.
So we're doing 96 Mario Kart courses, then Brady playing all of
96.
All of Inside in one day, and then the next weekend is Final Fantasy VII Remake Subathon, which we will go as long as we are supported to go.
Yeah.
Possibly the whole game.
Literally could be the whole game, and literally if we have enough time, we might hop in and integrate. But that's all due to y'all's support, and we were coming off of legitimately the best month of support we've ever seen on the Twitch side, the best month of support we've seen on the YouTube side, and the best month of support we've seen on the TikTok side. And so we were just very thankful, as always, to get to do this, have fun, and it's awesome.
We appreciate you guys so much. I am a little eepy today, coming off of drunk explaining the entire Kingdom Hearts series on Twitch. That should post on YouTube and then in the coming weeks. But that was a lot of fun. But man, does my body hurt?
Yep.
Like I feel like in physical pain from this. So we're gonna enjoy this podcast. Might be a little bit shorter than the other ones, just because we don't have a really big topic to go over this week. It's just kind of a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We wanted to just drop in. Like some of the latest podcasts have been very long, and we wanted to just be like, not all of them are going to be very, very long. Most of them are just going to be, around an hour. We've had a lot of hour and a half, hour 45s recently.
We originally had like 40-minute podcast,
30-minute
podcast. 40. Yeah, and now we're going for double that time, half the time. So let's jump into the hot takes. Do you want to kick it off, or do you want me to?
I can kick it off.
Okay.
This is just it's a hot take that a lot of people have, so I don't know how hot it is, but it is a hot take. Turn-based games in the year 2024. Are you kidding me? None of that. We want none of that. I'll talk about it in the Granblue experience that I'm having, but just going from playing so many turn-based games, so many turn-based JRPGs, going into something like this, it's like, oh my god, I so much prefer action-based RPGs compared to turn-based, and it's not even close. Like it is for me a little bit of a turn off when I see a game, I get excited, and then I realize it's turn-based. I'm like, So I don't know. It's a hot take. I'm not trying to go and yuck anyone's yum. If you like turn-based games, good for you. But in the year 2024, let's stick with the action games. Let's stick with the fun.
Yeah, I prefer action RPGs for sure, but I was turned off by turn-based games for like a long time, and then eventually got into them, and then because of Persona 5 really. And basically what I realized was turn-based games can be excellent. They just take a long time to get to that point. Like there's so many layers to so many of these turn-based games that like as you add things, but you can't just throw people into the deep end. So like
Yeah.
sometimes you're getting new aspects added in like 15 hours in that
Yep.
kind of help develop the systems in such a way that makes it way more exciting and fun. But once those wheels are a turning and you're kind of like playing the field on like exactly what you're gonna do, you're thinking like 4 moves ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Final Fantasy X does it really well with the system, so you like always know who's like kind of up, and then you can cast haste and you get multiple turns, and like as stuff just
Yeah.
starts to add on top of each other, that's where it becomes really fun. But I do get why a lot of people are turned away from it, because I was turned away from it for a really
Yeah.
long time. But excuse me, I think it's just an effort thing almost. Like if you're willing to just push through it, then you're gonna have a great time. But man, I feel uncomfortable telling people to do that. It's like, oh, you just got to watch The Walking Dead. It gets really good at like season 4. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to tell people
That-
to watch fucking like 40 hours of
That's
a
my
show.
big issue with it, where it's like you got to push through. Like I'm like, no, I don't want to push through. I just want fun immediately. And like I'm playing through FF9 right now, and recently playing FF7. Like there are those moments where you hit that flow state. You're just like, okay, I just need to get this heal off in like 2 turns. I'm gonna hit here, and then we're gonna get the heal in, and then they're gonna get their summon it out, and we're gonna win. That's super satisfying. That's super fun, and I do enjoy some turn-based games. It's not to say that this isn't just a blanket hot take, but when like we're gonna talk about direct in a moment, and like I'm gonna be like, turn-based game, like do I want to see some turn-based titles from IP that I know and love? No, I'd rather it be an action-based game at this point.
Right.
So that's my hot take.
My gaming hot take for this week: physical games need to stick around for as long as possible, and the way that the industry is going right now is terrifying. Rest in peace, Spec Ops: The Line, one of the most important video games of the last 2 decades. Poof, out of existence now. If you don't already have it downloaded or have it in your library, you're fucked. You just can't play this game anymore. Apparently it's going for like $80 now, $100 for like a complete edition on eBay. So it's going to become really inaccessible. Hopefully they remaster this game and renew some license, because apparently it's some licensed music in it that they the contract just ran out, so they had to pull it like immediately, which sucks. Like, man, I just am so afraid that this is just going to keep happening, and it's going to happen to a game that I like really care about and don't have access to or something for whatever reason. The thing is, most games that I want, I have like digitally or have in my collection already, especially from like the PS3 era on, when that really became a thing. But even then, like we've seen so many games just blinked out of existence that like it's terrifying to me. And I as somebody who loves video games and loves video game history and loves collecting, I just am always going to support physical, and this is why.
Yeah, I mean, there is the clear reason why, which is it's scary, but I think it's going to be such a small subsection. It sucks. It's a small subsection. At the end of the day,
small or big, or
at the end of the day, it's terrifying, but the reason is money. It all comes back to money. It is so much easier to either just shut these services down, or more importantly, there's no overhead. You don't have to work with these department stores to sell physical copies. You don't have to go and print out the games. Like that's a lot of fucking money that you're putting into printing a physical. But it's also, you get some of that back on the sense of grandma is able to go and grab Jedi Survivor at Christmas and just knows, oh, I like my grandchild likes Star Wars, and just pick it up, compared to having to deal with the digital code, having to deal with all that. There is that like plus to it, but at the end of the day, the dollars and cents, and like my question of the year when it comes to these gaming conversations is why. At the end of the day, the big why with going all digital, as much as it sucks, is it's dollars and cents. It makes sense that they're gonna try to want to have every single sale when it's $70. Well, Microsoft gets all $70.
There just needs to be more backlash on it. Is the case that I would make, that like, if we can continue to bang the drum for the necessity for physical games and the people who love them and mainly collect, they need to be very loud and very vocal.
They need to be very loud with their wallet.
Okay, Alan Wake 2 in 10 years, just gone from existence.
Yeah, it could happen.
If Remedy, if some sort of contract in there runs out, because it was only digital.
Yeah.
Same with Infinite Wealth, I think, Yakuza, or like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, also same deal. It's like, these are games that are all timers for a lot of people, and the fact that they can just be blinked out of existence on a whim, depending on contracts or whatever, like, it's really just a shame, and I am not willing to like go silently into the night
Yeah.
on this.
Oh, I'm totally
I
not.
will
Like
bang the drum for as
it
long as
all
I
comes
can.
down to voting with your wallet sort of deal and trying to get as many people in because a lot of people post polls. Do you get your games all digitally now or physically?
I
And
mean,
it's a lot of people go all digital.
even as somebody who prefers physical, and it's mainly for the older games, like the convenience of being able to play something at midnight and not have to go to a store to pick it up is very nice.
I mean,
and I like having a digital collection for sure, but I'm not willing to say that that's worth just removing physical
history
stuff.
Yeah.
History. I mean, like that's the thing. Like these are artifacts of history for older games, and apparently a lot of older games are just lost to the wind now because they aren't easily accessible. And it's important to preserve pieces of history. These are massive works of art that matter, and people worked on it, and they deserve to be accessible to people who want to play them. So
Totally.
yeah, physical over digital forever.
Man,
that's where I'm at with it.
Do we have two negative hot? Oh no, yours was like a uplifting one at least.
Sure.
Mine was negative. I tried. I'm normally, I would say like 9 times out of 10 I have positive hot takes. This was like one of my odd ones that I had a little negative.
Kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel of the ones that I had written down, but it was very topical here. So I was I thought this was a good time to break this one out.
Totally.
Granblue Fantasy Relink.
Oh my god, dude.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I am through 5 chapters in this game. I am pretty hooked.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on the hook. There's 9 total chapters. When I'm reviewing a game, I will look up the chapter amount just so I can know where I need to be in certain review processes. The action-based combat is not as deep as I would like it to be. It's a lot of, all right, you have your square for your small attack, triangle for your large attack, circle for your link attack, where it's your team-up attacks. A lot of fun to bring that into a combat system like this. R1 allows you to use 2 special attacks for whoever you're playing as your main character. For me, I'm playing as, you can play as anyone in the party as long as you keep the main character in the party. So no matter what, you just have to keep them in there. I'm playing as Catalina, who is super cool. I believe that's her name. This game has just been a trip for me of playing, just like as fast as humanly possible. Playing as her, she is terrific. She's a badass like knight that's trying to protect and explore the world. Oh my god, it's great. But her moveset is very similar to the main heroes. There's somebody with a gun that I kind of want to play as soon, just to like be like, how different is these movesets? But there is some small differences, especially with those special attacks. Makes it a very interesting combat system. And like I said, holy shit, how nice is it to play a game after playing so much Final Fantasy IX that's just like what I want. Like this game is what I want when it comes to a JRPG experience for the action-based games. Overall story, really solid, super intriguing off the rip. Before chapter 1 even starts, you get a nice little prologue that is thrusts you into the world. All of a sudden you realize, okay, we are a crew. We are on flying ships in the sky, and shit just hit the fan. What's the situation going to be now? And as you go and learn the situation, learn the levels that come with it, I'm not all the way through this game, so I don't know exactly where the story's going to turn, but every turn thus far has been exciting, gripping, also very just like beat by beat. And this is a shorter experience. It's 15 to 20 hours to beat for what I've seen, and I'm cruising through it. I think I'll beat this game in around 13 hours. I'm cruising. I'm under leveled, and so I literally like last night was just going doing side missions and everything. But I'm definitely cruising through this game at this point. It is a ton of fun. The story is like gripping, and every single beat that should hit, I'm like, shit, like this is actually like really good. Like the way that they set up the pieces of the puzzle, like a couple chapters in, to then be like, all right, you now know the world, you know the characters, you know your what the themes and what's gonna be important to push and really drive this game. It's awesome. It's a high flying air pirate adventure that I am all for, with fantasy elements and action elements. It's great. I wish that there was a little bit more depth to the combat system, but it's scratching an itch that is just like, oh man, I'm so excited for Rebirth. Like it really is like, this is the perfect appetizer for Rebirth. And I think that if you are someone that just wants to play a game before Rebirth, it's $60, so it's on the more expensive side. It's not a small experience. You can put into 50 to 100 hours with these side quests and missions and everything. You can go as deep as you want with this game, really. From what, once again, that's online, like how to beat sort of deal of completionist taking up to 100 hours. But yeah, I'm all in on this game. Like I'm
Nice.
super excited to get back into it. Uh, is it going to be on my top 10 at the end of this year? I'm not sure. I don't think so, really, at this point, even though it's scratching that itch for me, just because we've had a lot of heat in the start of the year, and I think that there's going to be a lot of heat towards the end of the year. Could totally see it squeaking on. Music's great. The world's great. The world building early on in this game is great. I'm for it. Like
How is
this,
it visually?
oh, it's a delight, dude.
Yeah.
The art style is terrific. There is one thing that I need to say about this game. There's a little dragon, like a little dragon that follows you around,
Mhm.
and his voice is so high. It's like like
Yeah.
when he's like talking. Oh my
It's
gosh,
so JRPG.
it's so JRPG, and it literally is. I think I'm sitting closer to like early impressions around like somewhere between that 7.5 to 8.5 area, and I was like, I can't give this game an 8.5 if this dragon keeps fucking yapping, dude.
Oh my
like
God.
it's just annoying.
I've
So
always been okay with those kind of annoyingly voiced characters. I think I find them generally pretty charming. Like I think
Yeah.
of like Vanille in Final Fantasy 13, and everybody hates her because of her voice performance, and it never bothered me whatsoever.
yeah, but I'm having a great time. I think that this is literally like the headline for impressions is if you wanted that little appetizer for an action JRPG before Rebirth, which like I know a lot of people are looking for that. I
Right.
was looking for that because I don't want to hop in a remake, even though we're doing the subathon. I didn't want to hop in and do a full remake playthrough right before Rebirth because I'm like I don't want to get FF7'd out, even though I don't know if that's possible. This is a great little hey, I got $60. I want to have a fun time for a couple weekends before Rebirth. What do I go to? I mean, Tekken is out there, Prince of Persia is out there, but if you want that good action JRPG experience to really get your hands on the sticks, feeling ready for Rebirth, this is the game for you. Like, I completely think that this is a solid experience,
Right
and
on.
I'm excited to beat it.
I wish I could play it. I'm really inundated with Persona 3, and then we're
We got
2 days away from Foam Stars,
and then
we're
4 days away from Helldivers.
yeah, and those are going to take up a lot of time, which I'm stoked for all of it. And then Pacific Drive, and then Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth at the end of the month, we're just feasting. I feel
Yeah.
like this is the best month that I have had in recent memory for releases that I feel really confident in.
Yeah.
And Granblue was towards the top of my list for stuff that I really wanted to play, but like I was just not.
We
enough time.
talked as a team and we are just like, you're like, I want to play of us two. Which one's playing Persona? It's fucking you.
Yeah.
Like that's easy.
Yeah.
And so this fell on my plate, and that was the other part of this. Like this was a game that was not really on my radar in the way that it was for you. Like I knew about it, and like heard it talked about on podcasts and Game of the Year stuff, and it was drafted in the 4th round by you for a Fantasy Critics draft and everything. And I was like, cool. Like this looks fun. It looks like something that I could play. And then you're like, Nick, you should play it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play it. And
I was like, Nick likes action RPGs, so this kind of fits. And
Yeah.
I don't like you said, I didn't think it was on your radar, so I
Yeah.
thought this would be good for you. And you're not playing anything right now
Yeah,
necessarily.
this is
until you're in a good window.
Yeah, this is a good little window for me before Foam starts. This is the issue though. I was talking to Brady about it last night while we were eating some barbecue and hanging out and everything. I was just like, dude, we're gonna get so into Foam stars. Like it's going to happen.
I'm stoked, and I'm excited to play with the community. If you want to play with us, join the Discord. We are going to try to get fans involved to the best of our ability. We don't really know how it's going to go because we don't know how Foam Stars works.
Yeah,
so,
the way the way that we sort of talked about it thus far is Tuesday's a weird one. This is going to just date it a little bit, but also just in general, join the Discord because we're going to be playing Helldivers also with the community and Foam Stars. But the direct or state of play is going to happen on Tuesday with FF7 Rebirth, and then most likely there's going to be a demo. If the demo comes out, then I will play the demo on stream, and then immediately after, me, Connor, and Brady will hop into a party together on Discord, play some Foam Stars with us in the party, and then like maybe one other community member to just get a 4th member, and then after the fact, we will spread apart and either try to play against each other, try to play with other parties,
custom matches maybe.
Yeah, custom matches if it's possible. Literally, we just want to give a cool ass experience with the fans, have fun, and get soapy. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm stoked for it. That's a game that I've already just been like, cool. You are going to be playing this all night long. Like it's going to be like a 2 a.m. sort of deal on Tuesday night. I'm stoked.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm playing Persona 3 right now. I've only played like an hour and a half, so I like just got through like the the intro sequence,
Yeah.
basically. It feels very modern. It feels very Persona 5. I have not played Persona 3 original, so I don't
Yeah.
have anything to really compare it to other than Persona 5, and it feels like I'm playing Persona 5
Yeah.
in a lot
Hell
of
yeah.
aspects. It's weird though, like in Persona 5, you have like 5 different things that you're leveling up, like your guts
Yep.
and your charisma or charm and like intelligence and stuff like that. It's been a while since I played Persona 5. In this one you have 3. And
Nice.
I was like, okay, like you can tell like that this is where they added stuff as they went along. So that's somewhat interesting, I guess. It looks amazing. I think the cutscenes, like the in-game cutscenes, are really well done here in comparison to even Persona 5, which Persona 5 is like anime cutscenes,
Yeah.
amazing. They look amazing here too as well. But like the in-game with the in-game characters or whatever, their animations are a lot better, I
Nice.
think. The music is fucking insane because it's
Persona.
Persona. Like it's so good. It's a totally different vibe. But it's a good vibe though. I'm really enjoying it.
Nice.
So yeah, that's Persona 3. We'll talk about it more in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
I wanted to play more of it, but dude, like we said for this weekend, I did the Tetris stream and then Drunk Kingdom Hearts, and I thought I was gonna finish doing Drunk Kingdom Hearts and like take a nap for a couple hours and then get up and start writing the top 50 and then play Persona for like 6 hours after that. I was zonked. I was done.
When this video goes up, if you've not seen Drunk Kingdom Hearts, when it goes up on YouTube, it is one of those things that we will promote the hell out of. It is must watch content.
And if you want the whole thing and you can't wait, it's on Twitch right now.
I'll probably take it down in a couple days.
Okay. Yeah, you can pull it from there.
But also, in a different vein, I want to play more Granblue this weekend. We had a conversation. I was like, so you're going to be playing Tetris. I'm going to have my monitor and I'm going to play Granblue. And then Connor gets on stream and he gets like 2 Tetris levels deep. I take a shower real quick, come on camera, wearing the Fortnite crop top and like understanding that we're going to be doing a bit for the KH Drunk Explains. And all of a sudden, like Connor's like, I am not reading chat right now. I'm like, oh shit, I
couldn't read and play Tetris at the same time.
Yeah, which makes total sense. But like, it was like, cool. This is now my duty for these next 3 hours, and then I had to help out. So I there was like 3 hours I was supposed to be playing, and I just didn't make it happen. And honestly, getting off that stream, I wasn't drinking, but like I was just exhausted, like just because I also was like basically listening to a 2-hour lecture on Kingdom Hearts.
Was it 2 hours?
It was about. It's gonna be 2 hours. In the video, like the edit process is like I'm taking out like a minute to 2 minutes in between each game.
Yeah.
Like it's going to end up being an hour and 40 minute video.
That shouldn't be too bad of an edit, I guess. Come to think of it, which is cool.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And that's how long it needs to be. It's fucking Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
But also, I guess we could talk about it right now. Tetris Effect
Rad.
Connected. Fucking awesome.
One of the coolest games that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. I didn't do myself any favors with streaming it by playing on Expert. I can beat the levels on Expert and I can move fast enough to get through it. But man, I was not Tetrising to the best of my ability, especially with chat sitting right there.
It's
and having
one of those games that I
engaged.
thought you would have been better served playing normal to then play Expert after the fact.
Yeah, but I just jumped right into the deep end.
Expert.
I didn't know how difficult it was going to be, or I didn't know if normal would be too much of a baby mode. It's like, I didn't know if I was afraid of it was going to be like playing Guitar Hero on medium. Yeah, where it's like this isn't fun. Like you need some sort of difficulty to like even enjoy it.
Yep.
So like I was hoping that Expert would be more like a hard mode because I don't even know what. That was full on expert mode. Yeah. So like, it was fun though. I had a great time. Like gorgeous backgrounds, great tunes. The way that it syncs up with the Tetris pieces. I got all the way to the last chunk of levels. I plan on beating it. I would imagine on my own time. Maybe just run through some like before bed. But god damn, that's some good shit right there.
Before we move on to direct predictions and the state of what this direct is going to look like, I kind of want to hop into just real briefly and discuss where you're a few days removed now from the state of play. What's just your ongoing thoughts of the state of play?
It's pretty similar to what I said after the fact. I think it was a really great showing for the first half of the year. Like, I think if you have a PS5 and you saw that, you were like stacked for the next 6 months between Stellar Blade, Rise of the Ronin, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
Final
they
Fantasy
didn't even
7
show it,
Rebirth
but
was in there.
even them for them to tease it to be like, hell yeah, like this is also coming down the line. You're gonna
Right.
get a full beefy boy direct after.
And then you just have to hope that some of the stuff that they showed and didn't put dates on are this year, like Judas and Silent Hill 2 remake. You just hope
Yeah.
that's later this year, and they very well could be.
You just hope one. Yeah, I'm hoping for one.
And then, but I think it's going to be a really weak second half of the year for PlayStation, which is fine. It can be held up by some solid third-party releases, but we'll just see what that ends up being, because there really isn't like any third-party major release that I can think of that's coming out in the second half of this year so far. So hopefully we'll know more soon. But then also Death Stranding 2 looks like the greatest game ever made, and I cannot fucking wait to play this game.
So I was once again at the bar last night with Brady, and I legitimately was talking to a couple of people about just video game stuff, and so some of these people like knew their shit. They knew about Death Stranding 2 in general, and I was like, okay, cool, nice, because that's just obviously not a for everyone type of game.
100%.
And so all of a sudden I'm like, this literally might be a trailer. Like I've already gone back and rewatched this trailer 15 times.
I keep going to the Higgs.
The Troy Baker moment where you're just like, hey, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Just like legitimately, if you're to tell me there's something cooler than fucking Troy Baker with a painted face in a robot suit, fucking pulls a guitar out, starts shredding to electrocute one.
It's BB's theme too.
Yeah.
When he's playing it,
God.
he's playing BB's theme on the guitar. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then
but just like a really fast version of it or whatever.
And then he fucking rips it over his head, and it turns into literally the axe turns into an axe, and you're just like, oh my god.
But then even outside of that, I think this is one of the greatest trailers ever made, just because of the environments that it shows. It's like the fucking shot with him like going towards the moon.
Yeah,
is one of the most amazing shots I've ever seen. The desert looks fucking insane. Him climbing up the side of the mountain looks crazy. The fight in the sludge against like the grimy monster looks fucking awesome. Oh, and then we know that there's guns now in the game that there might be actual like straight up combat rather than in the first one just like kind of avoiding enemies for the most part. Like I can't fucking wait. Like I think this game is gonna be awesome. I'm just sad that it's 2025, but Kojima, take as long as you need.
Yep.
Because
who cares?
I believe in Kojima. I'll always believe in anything that he makes.
I'm at the point where I'm as high as I was on the direct at that. I think I gave it an 8.5. I think it's a really great showcase just across the board.
I think it was a great showcase for what it was probably trying to do, but for what I was looking for it to do, it didn't deliver on that.
For me, it had to have one pop. The worst part is fucking the leaks on this showcase were just so bad.
I hate leaks. Like
that totally ruined it.
Yeah,
because if you were to tell me that we got Silent Hill 2 shown, Judas shown, and Death Stranding 2 shown, I would be like, I don't even need dates. That's a ridiculously amazing showing for a February.
And that Metro game looks fucking awesome.
And then to pair it with Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin, I'm like, oh shit, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So the fact that there was leaks, I totally think that
hurts it.
Points from yourself and from but on an objective standpoint, I think that's really, really rock solid. All right.
Then where do we stand going into a potential Nintendo Direct? We've been getting early year Nintendo Directs for the last few years.
Since 21, I believe.
And we expect to see one. There's some rumors floating around, right? That one is on the horizon. We are in the weirdest place for Nintendo that we have been in like a decade, kind of like since the Wii U era, like where it's just like, what do they do right now? How do they kind of navigate the waters of releasing a new console that seemed like it was going to come sooner than later, and now it seems like it's coming later
for sure
than what we thought. It's looking like this year.
Yep,
probably. Do you think that in a direct it is possible to see a new console announced?
I would say there's a 0% chance we see it in a direct.
I'm in the same boat.
So to just start this predictions will begin with, there's not a world where February, let's just say 7th, 8th, whatever it is. There's no world where we see a direct announcement and it is take a look at some upcoming games and then it just says games and it doesn't say Switch or something like that. It's going to be a Nintendo Switch Direct, which is very upsetting in my opinion at this point, because it's just like,
What did it
fucking
even show?
Well, we can hop into that in just a moment. But yeah, put it out to pasture. Is sort of where I'm at.
Yeah, but there's certain games that have been announced that you would expect to be on the next console. Like, do we know? We don't
Thousand Year
know.
Door.
Do we know when that's coming?
2024.
It just says 2024. There was no month.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's where my opinion is just like, oh, that's a launch game. But I could be
I don't
wrong
think
now.
so.
Yeah, now I
It
think
doesn't
it's a
need
Switch
to be
game.
on a Switch 2 just because it's just a
Graphically, it
remake
doesn't
of
need to.
a GameCube game.
I hate to say it. I think that we're gonna get one big reveal left, and we're gonna have a swan song moment for the Switch.
You think so?
Yeah.
What, you think it could be Metroid Prime?
I think it's Metroid Prime 4
Yeah.
at this point. And
It's not. Do you think it's a situation where it launches on? So they announced Breath of the Wild just for Wii U. When they announced it.
Yeah.
And there was rumors of another console coming down the line, but then it clearly got pushed, and then they were like, okay, it's going to release on both of these things. So do you think they could just announce it or talk about it for the Switch?
And then do for both? Yes.
Oh, yeah,
The worst part is my
you put a date on it like in for like September, and you're like, do you think that just ruins the surprise that like for the release date of the Switch 2 for whenever it
depends what the date legitimately is. Because if it is August, I'm like, yeah, the Switch 2 is not going to be out by August. Like, there's no way.
And it was supposed to, though, based off of rumors. We all
yeah,
thought
we
that's
all
when it was
were
coming.
But I'm at the point that this summer showcase season, people get really upset with me for saying E3 season. Summer showcase season, because RIP E3. We're gonna get a Nintendo conference, and it's going to be the Switch reveal event.
Yeah.
So I think that this is literally the last at bat, and if it is not, just please God, let this be the last at bat for Nintendo.
I don't even want to see it then if it's the last at bat. Like, what could they show that would be interesting and not kind of just like sad that this console is basically on life support because everybody's just waiting for the next thing to come?
I think the easiest answer on the fucking planet is what The Last of Us is trying to do. Every year you need a title. We're going to get those Zelda ports finally. And that's a tiding over, hey, we know we all want fucking Zelda. Just every year, basically. If we can get it, we want it every year. And right. I think that they would never... That's why when people were like, this is the year... Last year was never a year for Zelda ports. That wasn't going to happen. I think we get the ports. I think we get Metroid Prime 2 Shadow dropped for a remaster. Same deal as last year. At last year's February Direct. I also think... God, I just want it to be on Switch too, but if you want to give a final headline, if you want to give me one more thing, Super Sluggers.
Oh.
Yeah. Give us a Mario Super Sluggers game and throw it out in like baseball season, let's just say early May, before you would get something else out there. That really then would like, if you were to be like, okay, Metroid Prime 2 Shadow Drop, that's February. March, we have Peach Showtime, and then like late April, early May, we have Super Sluggers. I'm like, that's a solid way to close out the Switch.
It feels like it's time, and that would make sense.
Yeah,
to me.
Like that's
and it's
that's
so
a good,
low risk for them, and probably will sell exceedingly well.
It'll sell as well, even if the console, like the rumors of the Jeff Grubb types are stirring up in May that like, oh, the new Switch is about to get announced. The mainstream audience will just be like, fucking Super Sluggers. I don't care. Right. Like Super Sluggers is going to sell as much as Super Sluggers will sell any day.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I don't really think that the new console being on the horizon hurts Switch game sales necessarily. Because the assumption is that it is going to be backwards compatible. And hopefully some of the games will be like up-resed or like have some sort of upgrade plan in there to like get them to 60 FPS or get better visuals or whatever.
I don't see that, by the way. I would bet anything that's not going to happen.
It's Nintendo, so you can't assume that.
I'm 50-50 on whether we will get backwards compatibility, let alone because they want everyone to rebuy these titles.
Right.
So I would...
There will be backwards compatibility. There's no chance that they're going to risk that goodwill that they have from the Switch. They already... It took them so long to build it back up after the Wii U that like now with the Switch they're kind of riding high. You can't be that arrogant. Let
me just real quick. If you are, it's one of those F you, but are you gonna fucking buy it? F you, we're all upset, but are you gonna buy it? Because that's all Nintendo really cares about. And at the end of the day, F you guys, you're not gonna buy a new Switch. And
optics matter.
But that's the optics of the hardcore game fans. I don't think a lot of people are gonna be like, I have a Switch, and I really like my Switch. And then Mario Odyssey 2 gets announced, and they're like, "Cool, I'm gonna get a Switch 2, and I'm gonna buy it." Cool. It sucks that I can't play these old games on the new console, but like I have my Switch, so it's in my opinion, there's not a world that I don't think that backwards compatibility will be a thing.
Do you think there's any major ports that we could see? Anything big? Could we see Hollow Knight, or could we see? I know these aren't ports. Could we see Hollow Knight, Silk Summer? Could we see Hades 2 maybe on Switch?
That would be big time. That on the indie side, I didn't even think about that coming into this conversation. Silk Song, I just keep on banging the drum that is during that reveal event. That's where it's sitting now. The Switch 2 reveal event, that's where it's going to be shown next, because it's got to be as ceremonious as possible. I think that's also a great way to close out this direct, though.
Right.
To either have, it's got to be Hades 2 with a date, or it's got to be Hollow Knight with a date. Hollow Knight would be a bigger pop, I think.
100%.
But yeah, do you think that they could get like? No, there's no way. I was gonna say like really weird and put something like Elden Ring on there and just like.
Yeah, I was thinking about FromSoft because they have they have Dark Souls 1 on there. They could port something else, maybe Dark Souls 2 or 3. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. I was even thinking like, I really want a GTA 4 remake.
Yeah, that's not happening.
There was rumors about it happening for a while, and then it got canceled. It might still be stirring around though. So
you want something that's money in the bank that's gonna happen?
What?
Hi-Fi Rush is going to Switch.
Oh, apparently Xbox is going to announce their plans, their slate for games coming to other consoles, which I think it was in my predictions for this year. So
I mean, one of my Switch predictions
spring.
was of the February Direct is gonna have Hi-Fi Rush in it.
There you go.
Yeah, I feel really good that that's gonna happen. At the end of the day,
Sea of Thieves?
No, not on Switch.
Why not?
Switch Online sucks too much.
I feel like it's a no-brainer. I feel like Sea of Thieves is like one of the only Xbox, along with Hi-Fi Rush, like something that fits on the Switch when it comes to aesthetics and vibe.
I mean, it totally could.
Like it's cartoony.
The only thing that is guaranteed to go on the Switch for vibe purposes is Hi-Fi Rush. Shout out Straw Hat Company for streaming some of that while I was playing Granblue, because man, oh man, I would just like click over, watch a little bit of combat, and then click off, being like, that's a fucking good video game right there. That's a game, dude.
We could see the return of Star Fox eventually.
Not
maybe.
happening.
Yeah,
not that's if anything, that's next Switch.
Is there any other remakes or remasters that Nintendo can pull out?
They could do Metroid Prime 2 or 3, and then at the end of the day, what are we talking about here? This is just going to be a lackluster, question marky, like
you get like an F-Zero.
We got that by
F-Zero
F-Zero 99.
Yeah.
I think that's them testing the waters there. Do we get anything that's like fucking old? Like we got with Super Mario RPG or 1,000 Year Door, like GameCube, something that they could upres throw out there.
Earthbound
would be one,
but that's already ported to the Switch. That's just not gonna. I don't think so. I think that based on
a little Donkey Kong. What if we get some Donkey Kong ports?
Would love.
DK64 not being on there yet is actually legitimately shocking that's not on Switch Online yet. Yeah,
okay,
I think that could easily be there. I also think that in general, you could. For me, I'm trying to figure out what is that one more thing that comes out that tides everyone over until the announcement of Switch 2. We really are looking for that one more thing. We thought that one more thing was Mario Wonder. But now that it's been 5 months and it looks like we're getting another normal direct, it's like, okay, you can't close it out with Peach Showtime. And it's not to be like, oh, you have to have that one last charge. This direct is basically warranting that one last charge. That's what we're getting with things like the 1,000 Year Door, where it's like, there's going to be a little bit of a tail, it seems, that they're spinning, and that I think it's going to be awesome. What do you think that one more thing is? If you were to put like $5 on it or something, like.
I mean, could they show a Switch 2 game without saying that it's a Switch 2 game?
And it would be Metroid Prime 4 if that
I don't
was
know.
the case.
Why can't you just announce a Mario Kart?
Why can't you just say, hey, Connor, they're going to save that for the moment?
Why? I mean, you show off a Mario Kart that's coming to both Switch and Switch 2, and then you don't say, like, you're just doing like a tease for it or whatever, like just a 30-second like kind of flash in the pan.
I got a question for you though. If Mario Kart / Mario Kart 10, whatever it's called, the marketing sense, and I'm not calling this idea dumb, because I will never ever call a Nintendo decision or idea dumb, because I legitimately thought that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC was the dumbest idea I'd ever heard anyone say into a podcast mic. And then it happened literally the next direct. So I'm not going to say it's a dumb idea, but why wouldn't you want that to be your system seller? Because that is such a system seller.
Because you want to sell more
copies.
You have hundreds. You have 100 million Switches out there. You're going to sell this one game
if you
to
were to, Connor, if you were
20 million people
20 million, yeah.
at launch?
Yes, at launch, you want to sell to 20
you could
million.
double dip. You could have either exclusive content to the better version, or just have it be the best version by a long shot, and have better frame rates, have better visuals, and all that, and then you push people over anyways.
I think.
Am I going to buy a Switch no matter what? Yes. Or is everybody going to buy Mario Kart that wants it, whether it be on Switch 2 or on the original Switch? I think yes as well.
Connor, there's such a large difference between a game like Breath of the Wild launching, where it's like Breath of the Wild launches and it ended up selling immensely well, and a lot of people bought their Switches for that game, than fucking Mario Kart. Mario Kart's in a different league.
I know it is.
And so what you would do, if you want to sell out every single Switch, which they do, if you want, whether it's 10, 15, or 20 million on launch, you do that.
Switch 2, you mean?
Yes. Sorry, Switch 2. You go and you put it on. And so that's why I'm like, Mario Kart, I don't think we'll see. Metro Prime 4, for the longest time, I was like, there's not a world that we get another direct before we get the Switch 2. I was completely wrong. I think we're going to get another direct now. Metro Prime 4, I was like, always like, that's a Switch reveal event because that's a showcase game. You showcase what the system can do with that game.
That's why we don't know if it's ready yet. You know what I mean?
Well, it's
been in hell for a long time.
Apparently, it is very close to ready. They are literally trying to figure out cutscene stuff, and that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Honestly, it might have been a couple months ago that got brought up. So I think that that game is ready to rumble. It is now all about, is it time? So give me like the three things. You give me your lengthy long shot, like, or not, or just like gonna happen, kind of gonna potentially gonna happen, and what you want to see happen.
You're putting me totally on the spot here.
I can rip a couple. What do you think?
Well, I feel like we've done this. I think Peach Showtime is definitely going to be there, and I think we'll get a longer demo of some kind.
We did get
you get a demo announcement.
We got an hour, not an hour, like minute and a half trailer of Peach Showtime stuff.
Yeah, I'm saying you're going to see more.
Okay.
And then they might announce a demo for it. That's something like that. So then a long shot I think would be Metroid Prime. I don't think that's going to happen. And then the lengthy would be the Metroid Prime, and then we see gameplay and stuff, and it's finally be revealed. And then the long shot can be the Zelda ports.
Yeah,
I think that's not going to happen.
I think that's.
But it could.
I think I'm almost flipped on just the Metroid Prime and ports thing, because I think the ports exist. They do exist. I don't think they exist. They do exist. It's now about when did they pull the trigger, and that's been the case for a while.
Right.
Yeah, Peach Showtime's a lock. For just something else that could be a lock, I think we do see 1,000-Year Door get a date, like a definitive
100%.
date.
I felt like that was such a guarantee, though, that we didn't even need to discuss. And I think that there's going to be a high-profile port of some kind.
Yeah, whether it's Metroid or something else.
It's like Fallout on.
Oh yeah.
On Switch, like Fallout 3.
I don't think so.
Or New Vegas, like something like that. That would work. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Skyrim's on there, so like. You'd imagine that it would work. Like, give me a high-profile port of some kind.
And then I think that for certain, my medium prediction would be Metroid, but not Metroid, the Zelda ports. And then my long shot is Donkey Kong something. I think that I was convinced that early we'd get a Donkey Kong on the new Switch. Now I'm just thinking about the schematics of it. Semantics. Thank you. Semantics of it. Does that actually come out on Switch 2, or is it just not big enough? Because in my world, the Switch launches with 2 games, like 2 bangers, and I'm at the point that I'm like, you got it. If not 3D Mario and Mario Kart, you have to have one of them.
Yep.
And I think that 3D Mario, I think it's 3D Mario Metroid Prime 4 still to this day.
Yeah. So that's why. But the thing is, like, you can have that as your launch lineup and still have Mario Kart on
announced that day.
Announce and have both and have it a part of the launch lineup and still be on the older console.
I don't think it's going to be. I don't think
it's all speculation and just.
I know.
I'm
just saying this out loud. I don't think the Switch is backwards compatible. I don't think it is.
You're out of your mind. It has to be. It has to be.
Does it? Saying it has to be doesn't make it have to be.
It does though, Nick. It's it would be so bad for them, and they're leaving. It's
I don't
sure
think-
you might make a few more bucks or whatever, getting people to rebuy all these games, but it's not
You're
worth
gonna,
it.
you're gonna make so much
It's
money.
not worth it to
making
piss
everyone-
off your entire fan base and ruin all the goodwill that you built up over
I
the last
don't
generation.
think that they're actually pissing off the majority of the fan base. I think a lot of those people would just be like, "Wait, so you're saying that my Breath of the Wild doesn't work? Well, it's a new console. Like that makes sense."
No, not anymore.
We'll see.
Not anymore. Nobody does that anymore. Everybody, PS4 to PS5,
Yep.
Xbox One, Xbox Series, we know what we're getting now. And that is backwards compatibility. Like, that is just everything from now on is going to be backwards compatible. And I doubt that they would go in that direction.
Let's draft.
All right. I get first pick.
I have no idea. Who got the first pick in the weapons?
I did Energy Sword first, and you did what?
I have no idea. I'm gonna check my weapons.
Oh,
list.
I did Energy Sword and Blades of Chaos. So I think, or sorry, Leviathan X. So I think you're.
And then I went Blades of Chaos and something else because I picked.
So I'm
yeah,
up.
you're
I'm
up first.
Yep.
Damn, I wanted the first pick.
Which is interesting because the things with these drafts is it's always like I want to play with my heart and just do what I want and what I think is best. But like there's
Yeah.
certain answers that I just know are going
You
to
gotta
get way
give,
more
dude.
pull.
You gotta give.
Today we are drafting the best indie games, independently developed video games. With my first overall pick, you gotta go with Hollow Knight. One of the best Metroidvanias of all time. We're just absolutely frothing at the mouth for that Silk Song announcement for when it's coming out. Give it to us. Hollow Knight with my first overall pick.
That's a good pick. It's not number one on my board. I'm excited for my 1-2 punch because I get my top two choices in this draft. With my number one pick, I will be choosing Celeste. It's
that was my number
amazing. Yeah, it's your number one.
Yeah.
Why did you cave, Connor?
Because I know people are going to prefer Hollow Knight.
Okay, whatever you say. And I'm going to pair it with Undertale. So I'm just taking great art styles, great music, some of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
Undertale and Celeste.
Celeste might be the greatest platformer ever made.
Li-
Honestly.
I don't know why you didn't pick it first overall.
Because
It's number
Hollow
one on
Knight
my
might be
board.
the greatest
Metroidvania
of all time. Yeah. With my second pick, I'm going to go with Hotline Miami, a game that I personally think is a perfect, tight experience. The gameplay is immaculate. When you die, you can reset, immediately get right back into the action. When you fuck up, you know that it was your fault. Go again, try something different, and you'll eventually come out on top. Great music, great visuals, great art style. Like, it's next level. It's one of the greatest indie games of all time.
I, no matter what, get one of my next two like top games, and I'm
Yeah.
excited about it. And then there is a world where you pick neither of these games, and I'll be really excited.
With my third pick, I'm going to go with Hades.
Damn it.
Supergiant Games. This game totally blew up after being in early access and captured the hearts of many. It's a game I still haven't played. I still really would like to play it. I've played Transistor and Bastion, loved those. I just haven't gotten around to playing Hades. So Hades with my third pick.
With my third pick, I'm gonna go with Cuphead. This this little platformer with one of the greatest art styles and greatest soundtracks of all time. I am very, very shocked Connor did not pick it with his team because he adores Cuphead. But I'm very happy to have it on my squad.
Immaculate game.
One of the greatest games of all time. I think that we're still in that like basically S tier of indie games. And with my next pick, I'm gonna go and get a little spooky and choose Limbo. I'm gonna go with Limbo. I felt like these. Pick your favorite sort of deal. I'm gonna go with Limbo, mainly because I've beaten Limbo and I love that game.
Yeah. With my fourth pick, we're going to go with a recent one, Inscription.
Yeah.
I fucking love Inscription. My game of the year for
2021.
Wait, really? It was 2021?
Yep.
My game of the year for 2021. Going Blind. It's super weird and unique and interesting. I fucking love Inscription. I recommend it to anybody, but don't look into it. Just play it. It's fantastic. My last pick, right?
Yep.
Fuck.
I should have picked Inscription instead of Inside.
Yeah.
That was a bad
picked
play.
Limbo, by the way.
Oh yeah, same deal.
With my last pick, I'm gonna go with Shovel Knight.
Thank God.
just kind of really kicked off the renaissance of indie games. I feel like a lot of games kind of copied that retro 2D style. I'm certainly there's games that came before it to do it, but Shovel Knight really kind of burst onto the scene with Kickstarter and kind of reinvented the indie game for that era. So Shovel Knight with my 5th pick.
I still have one more.
Mm-hmm.
How do I still have one more? You went 1. I went 2. You went 2. I went 2. Oh, you're supposed to have 2.
I just did 2.
Oh, you did 2. Great. What was the other one? What was your 4?
Inscription.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I was between a few of them.
Yeah.
There, and Shovel Knight.
Cool. With my last pick, I thought Connor just might have sniped this just to mess with me. It's a game that I will talk about to the end of my days. It is so underrated in the greatest year of gaming. I'm going Cocoon. Like, this game is so good. It's a game that I will just beat the drum for any day of the week, where every single person that's ever played this game is like, this is one of the best games ever. Not one of the best indies ever, one of the best games ever. And it's just still so, like, it only came out a few months ago in the grand scheme of things. Well, a lot of these indies have had years to build up clout, basically. This game, every single person that played it loved it. It's on Game Pass. Give it a shot if you haven't. It's really short. It's one of the best puzzle games I've ever played. And I'm going to close out this draft with Cocoon.
Alrighty, that was the casual gaming conversation. Thank you guys so much for spending this time with us. Like we said, we stream 4 days a week on Twitch, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. We have some fun weekend streams coming up, like all 96 Mario Kart 8 courses in a row this upcoming Saturday. And then we have Brady playing all of Inside, and then we have the Subathon playing all of Final Fantasy VII Remake leading into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at the end of the month. This goes up every week on Spotify and YouTube at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. Did I say Monday? All right,
Yeah.
Twice. I said Monday twice. I'm getting better at this, but it's still, if I'm tired, if I'm
Yeah.
beat, it kind of just flows out of me, and I don't really remember what I said. I just black out when I'm doing
Yeah.
this. New TikToks every day. The support over there this week was amazing. Thank you guys so much for roasting us in the influential top 10 influential games draft.
It was so difficult.
It's not as easy as people think it is, but we had a lot of fun. I think that's a fun video.
The worst one was on my part was World of Warcraft, because literally before we start shooting, I was like, influential, and like I'm like, what do you think this sort of means? And I was like, yeah, like there's gonna be things like Pong and Warcraft. Literally, like it was the second thing that I just like casually brought up while we were like shooting the breeze, like just like a week before we're actually guessing, and totally went over my head until like the last moment. I was very frustrated with myself for forgetting that, but then I'll stick by certain guesses.
Like Halo not being on there?
Yeah.
Crazy. Makes no sense. Half-Life not being on there. Half-Life 2, Counter-Strike not being on there. Like, those are objectively very influential games.
and for people to be like, these fucking jokers. I'm like, the worst part is when we do this, we kind of think about the list holistically of like, could this just in general be on there? Where a lot of people have that like one first game that they think about. For me, I when I'm doing a list, I'm like, okay, like I don't need to guess a Rockstar game off the rip, because I know that my brain will eventually get me back to Rockstar games.
It's one of those things too that like I kind of like to see if it might be on the list, or maybe just kind of people like to hear their favorite games mentioned or whatever. So then like just kind of throwing stuff out there that I like. Mass Effect, I think, is like, I think that's a very influential game. It's also one of my favorite games of all time. So like, it's nice to give it like at least a shout out as like, oh yeah, this is a very influential game. So that kind of factors in as well. So but yeah, that was your casual gaming conversation. Sorry, I was closing out and then we just went for another like 2 minutes. That's what we do here. Thank you guys so much for spending this time with us and all the support. Peace out.
Cool. Let me close it out.
2 o'clock is when we said we wanted to be done.
Nope, 2 o'clock is when we need to be done from. Oh.